Hey guys, before we start the video, I just wanted to ask a couple things. If you could, make sure to leave a like on the video. That'll help me out a whole lot. And if you want to see more guides just like these and be notified, make sure you subscribe and click that bell. That way you're notified when I upload brand new videos. That will allow me to continue making content like this. And if you're interested on seeing me live, there will be a link in the description below for my Twitch channel, as well as my Discord if you're looking to chat it up, see some memes, keep up with videos, keep up with announcements and all that good stuff. I also do giveaways on Sunday on the Xbox One platform. I stream Wednesday through Sunday. Thank you guys so much for your time. I appreciate you watching up until this point, and let's get on to the video. Hello everyone, Warframe25 here, back with our second guide on Mastery Rank, and this time I'm going to try and be a little bit more in depth about it. I realized the last video didn't explain as many details as I should have or could have, so I'm going to try and get more into it about all the multiple ways to check your MR, what each item is worth in MR wise, and how to level it. Let's go back to the store like we did last time, or the market up here, whatever you want to call it, and we're just going to hit Y or whatever platform you're on to bring up all your weapons and Warframes and equipment, all that stuff. Just go to weapons here. So there are three filters in the top left hand corner of the screen. You can hide items without blueprints, hide ones that are mastered, and hide ones that are owned. So me being at MR30, if there's any weapons that I haven't got in my arsenal, like ones that maybe I had sacrificed already or had gotten the MR for, I can just hide them all. So I can hide items without blueprints, hide mastered, and hide owned. And I have all the items in the category. But in your case, if you're trying to farm mastery rank, I think what you should do is hide items without blueprints, because there's some items in the game that you aren't going to be able to acquire without doing a specific farm other than just having the resources. All of these weapons are going to require resources in order to build them that you can get by regularly farming the game or by regularly playing the game. So in this instance, if we take that filter off and we just go with Exceltra and we get the blueprint requirements, you see we can't buy the blueprint. We have to get the blueprint by actually going to a certain mission in the game in order to acquire it. So I would honestly always keep that filter on, hide items without blueprints. And in your case, if you're trying to gain more MR fast and see which ones that you have already leveled, you could also do the hide mastered. And like I said, in my case, since I'm MR30, it's not going to really show anything. But in your case, if you're MR5 or up to 10 or whatever you happen to be watching this video from, you should have quite a list to choose from. Now you'll notice that none of these weapons actually tell you where you can get the blueprint from, since the blueprint is not available in the store through credits. Like you have to actually go get the blueprint and grind for it in a particular game mode. Like the Exceltra and the Icarius, you have to go do disruption because they both came with gauze. You have to do disruption in order to get like their parts for it. If you can't find it, if you don't know how to get it, if you have all these filters off and it doesn't give you the option of buying the blueprint, you're probably just going to have to look it up. You'd probably use the Warframe wiki, because we all know that Warframe does have a very big learning curve, and you pretty much have to keep a separate tab open most of the time. Just like the Cortege, the blueprint you have to get from Father on Deimos or whatever, because it's an arc gun. Or the Dual Decurions. You can buy the blueprint, but the items themselves come from syndicates. So if there's items without blueprints, like I said, I would just look it up if you're having trouble finding it. So we're going to go to the dojo real quick. I'm going to show you all the areas or places that you can go to get more weapons and get your mastery rank up even higher. And something to note, if you don't have a clan, all you can do is just go to the recruiting chat, and there's usually people trying to recruit in clans. I'm on the Xbox One platform, and if I could just make a quick note here, please don't ask me over Xbox if I can help you level stuff. Join the Discord. Please join the Discord. That's going to be in the description below. I'd really appreciate that, because the last time I did this video, it got a surprising amount of views. I was pretty surprised by that, and I just kept getting spammed with messages in my inbox asking if I could help people like level their stuff up. I'm like, I could, but I don't have enough time to keep track of everybody that's messaging me. So please use the Discord link below. I'd really appreciate that. But that's only if you're on the Xbox One platform. Crossplay does not exist on Warframe. Cross save doesn't exist on Warframe. That's something they're trying to work on. But anyway, enough of that rant. Let's go to our dojo. All right, so here we are in our dojo. And as soon as you arrive in any dojo, this is the same with every single dojo, you can go to your pause menu and do fast travel. And you can go to the Energy Lab, Chem Lab, Bio Lab, Tenno Lab, and the Orkin Lab. There aren't any blueprints in the Orkin Lab. I think that's just for the Dragon Keys. So first things first, let's go to the Energy Lab. And as soon as you fast travel here, it's going to bring you immediately up on this display for Activate. And if you want to, you can click Y, Prerequisites, Name, Progress. Try to make sure that you join a clan that has all the research finished. If you're thinking to yourself, well, I'm just going to start my own clan, I'm going to start my own dojo, it is a lot of resources. I mean a lot of resources to research all this stuff. To research it, finish it, duplicate it, and then craft it. It takes a butt ton. And something to note about the Corpus, Grineer, and Infested weapons, they're all going to require special resources. In this case, for Corpus, it's Hydron. For Infested, it's Mutagen Mass. For Grineer, it's called Detonite Injectors, and they require, I think, 12 hours to complete individually. So if you don't have the app on your phone that's where you can just access your foundry there, I actually kind of would recommend downloading that, since you can craft these every 12 hours. But I'm pretty sure every single weapon here, when you replicate the blueprint, see the Dara is going to cost you Wait, what? What? Okay, so I never knew this, and I swear this must have been a recent change.
90% of the time, I have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about.
They require a Forma to replicate now. I don't think that was a thing before. Either that or I'm just stupid.
You're an idiot.
Which is highly possible, but they now require a Forma to replicate. Okay. I legit don't remember going through that grind like that. I didn't know they all required a Forma now. Jesus. Okay, well, my point still stands. Sorry. Wasn't expecting to hear that, or see that anyway. But yeah, every single weapon is going to require Fieldron, and it looks... Okay, so in this case, alright, so they don't all require a Forma, just a couple of them. So I would probably just choose the ones that don't require a Forma if you're not heavily blessed in the Forma department. And it's also, but before you start it, it's going to tell you up here at the top left corner if you've mastered it or not. If you've already ranked it up all the way and you've mastered it. So definitely look at that before you decide to replicate it and craft it. It says Warframe after all, the last thing you want to do is dump resources into something that you don't need. Alright, on to the Chem Lab. So we're here at the Chem Lab. Like I said, Detonite Injectors, it's going to, like I said, you can replicate the blueprint. And each blueprint you have to replicate is going to cost you 15,000 credits. And the resources to craft them really isn't that hard. I mean, it's salvage, plastids, control module, Detonite ampule. That's all pretty easy to do in this case. Like I said, it's every 12 hours they craft. Let's see if it's the same with these for Formas. Yep, alright, it's for Formas. So I guess not every weapon's going to require a Forma, but probably a vast majority. The Grineer weapons don't cost that much. I'm sorry, there aren't that many Grineer weapons. And that's it for the Grineer labs. On to the Bio Lab. Come to our lovely infested weapons. And like I said, these are going to require mutagen masses. It's the same thing. You're going to need mutagen masses and Formas. And it's going to take 12 hours to craft each of those. And each one that you replicate is going to cost you 15,000 credits. So you might have to do quite a bit of credit farming to replicate and replicate and replicate and replicate. It's not a infinity blueprint like most things in the game. Like you just buy it once and you can just replicate it infinitely. You have to buy it over and over and over again, craft it over and over and over again. So that's it for the infested lab. And if I recall correctly, I shouldn't be wrong about this. Like I said, unless I'm stupid. The Tenno Lab, when you go to the Tenno Lab, I don't think this is going to require any kind of special resource. It may require a Forma though. Yes. Okay, so if I were to suggest to you which one you should visit first, I would honestly say the Tenno Labs, because it's not going to require a special resource. You could probably get like the replicant blueprint right off the bat. There's probably ones that don't require a Forma. You can just, start your master rank grind right then and there. And not to mention that the Tenno Labs also have Warframes. They have the space, or they have a base form Banshee. They have for her systems, neuroptics, and chassis and all that. Does they require a Forma? It does not. So yeah, there's 3 or 4 base form Warframes you can get here. There's Banshee, Naja, Volt, Wukong, and Zephyr. All 5 of those base frames can be acquired in your dojo. I honestly really suggest getting Wukong. He's a great frame, especially if you don't want to die. A lot of people is kind of like the ultra carry frame for a lot of people since he's pretty much immortal. He's very, very hard to kill. But as far as the weapons and Arcwing department goes, you can also get your Arcwings here. The Amesha, the Elytron, and the Itzal. Also highly recommend crafting those and ranking those up. I'm going to make a separate video on how to easily rank those up at some point, because they can be kind of a bear to properly level up. So there's one more trick I'm going to show you. If there is something that you are completely unsure, that you have not leveled yet, that you haven't gotten to yet, you can go to your pause menu here and go to Show Profile. And when you go to Show Profile, if you go to Equipment, it's going to show all, and you can sort that by name, used, and progress. So if you do used, it's going to show you all the ones that you've already used. Very big list. And at the bottom, it's going to show you the ones that you haven't acquired yet. Like me even being an MR30, there's some I haven't gotten yet, like the Orange Spinoza, the Athadai, some of the K drives, the Bratton Vandal, the Carmine Penta, the Helicar Wraith, the Kuva Dracoon, some of the Kuva weapons, so on and so forth. If it's just frames you're trying to look at, just go to the next tab. I've done all the Warframes so far except for Trinity. I still have to rank her up completely to get that last bit of MR off her. Primary, like I said, same thing. Bratton, Carmine Penta, couple Kuva weapons, same thing, go over, so on and so forth. Robotics, they also count for MR. Companions, they also count for MR, and there's 6 different variants of Kavats and 9 different variants of Kubros. And there's all your vehicles, all your Arcwings, all of your 2 Void Rigs, or your 2 Necromechs, your K drives. Then you've got your Arc Guns, your Arc Melee, and your Amps. The Prisms, just the Prisms, count towards MR as well. And if I remember correctly, I would think it is 6,000 master rank for Warframes, for Sentinels, for Pets, for K drives and Arcwings, and I think that's it as far as 6K standing goes, and then the rest is all 3K. The Kuva weapons, however, all the Kuva weapons in the game, like Kuva Dragoon, all the Kuva weapons go to level 40. Those will give you 4,000 master rank total. And like I said, if there's anything here that you're just like, well, I have no idea how to get that, I hate to say it, but you just got to look it up. I hate saying that, I really do, but we all know how Warframe works as far as the learning curve goes. Just look it up in the Warframe wiki, or just look it up on YouTube. That's kind of one of the reasons I'm trying to get back into YouTube, is to try and help people out. So that's it for that screen, and there's also another screen. You can go and hover over your master rank here, and it's going to show you how much master rank you've gotten off of each thing. So there's 461,000 off Warframes, weapons, secondary weapons, melee weapons, kit guns, missions, the Steel Path missions, Railjack intrinsics, Sentinels. You see the whole list there. I'm not going to list off the whole thing. So that being said, the Steel Path actually gives you master rank as well. If you don't know what the Steel Path is, essentially it was considered to be DE's hard mode for Warframe. In order to get the Steel Path unlocked, you have to go and make sure that all of your nodes are complete on the star map, which will then unlock arbitrations, and then you can go to Teshin in any of the relays, and he will ask you about the Steel Path and wanting to start it, and for each planet, I think it's like, I honestly can't remember. It says the Steel Path missions there are 22,000. I think all in total it's about 30,000 master rank points from the Steel Path for completing each planet. It's from completing the planet. I don't think it's node by node, but I think it's completing the planet, if I'm not mistaken. And there's also Railjack intrinsics. I've got 72,000 Railjack intrinsics. That also counts towards your master rank. And if you feel like there's anything that I've missed, please let me know in the comment section below. But before we end the video, I'm going to give a few tips on how to easily level stuff, just as far as your weapons and frames and all that other stuff goes. And to do that, we're going to go back to our orbiter first. And as far as these points go, I really want to try and keep these short because I wanted to make a separate YouTube video for it. And our first place to level things is Hydron, the ever legendary, boring,
thing sucks!
disgusting node of Hydron. I really hate suggesting Hydron, but that's what everybody seems to go to nowadays, even though they leave it like a wave 5.
Disappointed!
Which pisses me off. That's why I don't do this anymore. I don't do Hydron anymore, because I'm going to tell you something that a lot of other players don't ever seem to bring up, and I mean, this should be obvious considering the kind of game that this is. Warframe is a very, very grindy game, and as far as I would think, you'd be wanting to do multiple things at once. You'd be wanting to kill like 3 or 4 birds at one stone, you know, kind of thing. And Hydron, all you're doing is just getting relics in Affinity. And it's not even that good of relics either. They're not unvaulted relics or anything like that. They're just regular relics for the current unvaulted frames, and the affinity. And like I said, you know, if you don't have an affinity booster, people always leave it like wave 5 or 10 or something like that, and it's just, it's so boring.
It sucks.
Doing that tile set, you're gonna drive yourself nuts doing that. Yeah, I don't suggest Hydron, but if you see taxis for it, I guess take them. Like I said, there's always recruiting chat if you're looking to level stuff up in Hydron, but I don't recommend it. But enough about that node. I'm not going to carry on about it and being a negative Nancy about it. Second way is Railjack, believe it or not. Because when you do Railjack, there are a crap ton of fighters in like the kind of like meta missions now. So the cool thing about Railjack currently is when you're doing Railjack missions, you get spare parts for your Railjack. You get shield arrays, you get guns, you get reactors, you get plating, and all that stuff can be converted into endo. And endo is also one of the biggest pain in the butt resources in the game to do. Not to mention, you're also getting credits. So you're getting affinity, Railjack resources, ways to improve your Railjack, endo, credits, gaining levels. It's killing so many birds with one stone, and I've kind of come to enjoy Railjack a little bit. I actually don't recommend it solo though, because the piloting AI, whenever you do get your Railjack, is kind of like it's kind of brain dead. It won't pilot the ship correctly. But if you do solo, I would suggest 7 Sirens. I would do the Exterminate 7 Sirens, just regular mission. Don't do Void Storms because they take forever and they're not worth it still. Just do the Exterminate, because all it is just fighters spawning in continuously, kill the fighters, get the affinity. When the fighters stop spawning, then you can do the main objective, and you can just keep repeating this one mission over and over and over again. If you've got a team, even better. That legit makes it even better, because you can have somebody else in the gun taking out more fighters even more efficiently. All right, and point number 3 is going to be Void Fissures. Not the Void Storms, but the regular Void Fissures. And the reason I say that is because, like I said, you want to try and kill multiple birds with one stone. So you can bring stuff to level if you confidently think you can go into a survival fissure or a defense fissure. I don't really recommend defense because it feels really slow, even especially if you go solo or in a public team and like you're always kind of taking random stuff. I like to go solo in survival missions, crack relics, get prime loot, get void traces, get my affinity. I also have an old video on how to make any Warframe invincible, and it's super easy. Please go watch that if you haven't already. Just look forward to my channel. I'd really appreciate that. Enough for that point. I think next should be, I would say, Steel Path. And Steel Path is, like I said, if you've completed the star chart, you just change it to that. And if there's a particular resource that you're having trouble getting, like say in this case, if you go to left stick, resource drone, and then right stick, say there's polymer bundle or circuits or field drone sample or alloy plate. If there's any particular planet that like has a resource that you're kind of low on, like orkin cells, plastid, nanospores, any of that stuff, you could go there, farm the resources. You'll have increased mod drop chance, increased resource drop chance, higher level enemies, which means they'll give you more affinity. Great way to rank stuff up. You can even get a taxi there if you want. You could ask somebody in your recruiting chat if they're willing to taxi you through like a nanospore farm, and you'll rank up pretty fast, even without an affinity booster. Next up is Adaro, which if you have seen probably a lot of other YouTube videos where you get a Equinox to come along with you and put everything to sleep, you get a 5 times affinity bonus called for like your stealth bonuses and whatnot. So it's pretty nice. You can do literally one single run with the Equinox and have your whole loadout completely leveled up, or maybe just a frame plus a weapon. But I kind of, it's hard to find the right people. If you've got friends and you've got the right people to do this over and over again to rank your stuff up, absolutely go for it. As far as the Equinox build goes for it, I'm going to try and show that real quick. I don't know if it's going to be 100% correct though or not, but yeah, like I said, but if you want help, if you want to do some of this stuff with me, I absolutely will try and help you out Game Master rank if you can, especially if you're just first starting out. If you're like MR0 or MR1 or 2 and you're watching this video, don't worry about mastery rank. Focus on your star chart, get to the planets, enjoy the quest, enjoy the story, enjoy having something to do. You'll have a much better time. Don't worry about mastery rank till you're like 8 or 10 and you're trying to get access to certain weapons. So enough rambling. I'm going to try and show the Equinox build. I don't even know personally if it's correct or not, just because there's the helmet system now, and it may have completely changed now. And here's the build for Equinox, and I have no idea if this is correct or not. All I know is that this build entirely relies on this. rest and rage, because you're going to be spamming the absolute hell out of it. You're just going to be spam, 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 kill stuff, spam, 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 kill stuff, puts them to sleep, gives you more affinity. So yeah, you really, really want to have the maximum range. If you don't, try and go for it. In the mods, all that account to range is overextended, auger reach, cunning drift, and stretch. Give you a total of 280% power range. Arcanes, not entirely necessary, but you may need a few energy pads, which, if you saw earlier in the dojo, come from the energy labs from the Corpus. Solution number 6 for leveling is Sanctuary Onslaught, which come from Cephalon Samaris. You have to complete the Glass Gambit to get access to Sanctuary Onslaught, if I remember correctly. I'm pretty sure it is. If you don't have access to it, try and get to the Glass Gambit. I double check me on that. I should have checked that before I'd done the video, but I do apologize for that. But I'm pretty sure it's the Glass Gambit before you can get access to Sanctuary Onslaught. Just do regular one. Don't do Elite Sanctuary Onslaught, or you get your butt kicked when you're trying to level frames. Because Elite Sanctuary Onslaught, you need a level 30 Warframe. It will not let you take under level Warframes there. And put it on public. Don't go solo. Put it on public just for the hell of it.
Let's run! Coming out of the goddamn wall!
And the last thing I could think of off the top of my head was Sortie. And sometimes in the Sortie, there is this special condition called an Eczema Stronghold. I made a video about this a while back, and I probably didn't present it that well, but it also depends on what kind of mission it is. If it's like a survival Eczema Stronghold, or just a mission where enemies continuously spawn and continuously spawn and continuously spawn, and you can actually do the mission over and over again too, Eczemus units give a much higher yield of affinity. So it's totally worth your time to try and like utilize that from the Sortie while you still can. Really, really great way to utilize affinity. If you're trying to double up your affinity, then you're going to have or want to get a affinity booster, a Smedica Vat, and keep an eye out on like region chat or the question chat or recruiting chat and see if anybody is doing a blessing. Master rank 30s now have the ability to grant blessings, one being affinity, the other being resource, drop chance, and credits, and a couple others. So yeah, that's all I could think of for possible ways to level stuff up, and as far as gaining mastery rank goes. And again, please just message me through Discord. Join the Discord. Join the Discord below, and I'll get you verified. When you first join, you won't be able to see anything because I have to verify people in order to prevent people from trolling my Discord, which unfortunately happened a few times, but then again, this is the internet. So, if you have any comments or questions, please leave them in the comment section below. And just like the beginning of the video, please like it. Please subscribe if you don't mind. It'll allow me to make more Warframe content like this. It'll let me know that people actually like it or not. Remember, everybody, strive proudly. And how loudly. Good night, guys.